This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 846, Pandora's Skilling Bundle. Enjoy.
And I went down there and I tried it with no mechanics, just so I could get a feel for
The creeping ice.
that, and I wanted to see what the accessibility, like if I was going to need to put it in a skybox, if there was just get a basic feel.
Yeah.
So when I started, I noticed right away that I was running into a very familiar stumbling block, which was when when you magnify like I am, even though I might be swinging way to the side and clicking my mouse way far away on my monitor, it's magnified, right? So I'm not
Yeah.
actually moving that far.
Right.
And by the time, that happens and I click again, it just makes me real slow. And, so I couldn't really get out of the way very well. Now, that being said, the creeping ice was never an issue.
All right. That's good.
Never had a problem with that. The glacier itself, I couldn't really see it real well, but there's some kind of outlining on it that I thought was black, but talking to Shane, I guess it isn't. But there's some kind of like edges to it that kind of reminded me of a comic book, and I could kind of like that's what I kind of
Interesting.
could see. So then I tried to step it up with the minions, and quickly found myself just spinning my gears because I couldn't kill the minions with the weapons I had quick enough to take the boss down. I never died. I just got tired of like sitting there killing minions.
Right, because if you don't kill the minions, you can't do damage to it.
Right, yeah. So that was the issue with that. So I went and got melee, came back, and ripped through that with no problem. And I didn't have any problems. Like for some reason, when I watch other people's videos and stuff,
like mine,
it seemed, yeah, it seemed lighter than what it was for me when I was in there on the bridge. Like I could see the bridge really well, but when I watch it back on videos, it blends in more. So I don't know if that's just because I'm, so much more magnified in because I'm playing or what. But then I tried the like the little light pillars.
Yep.
And did fine with that.
Pillars of ice.
Yeah, the pillars of ice.
That's interesting because that one is my most difficult mechanic.
Really? See,
yeah.
I didn't make it. Like I ran into my wall with the big frost, the
frost cannon.
The big dump, you're dead. Yeah. That one.
Because it starts spinning in the background, and then you gotta devotion it or use some kind of defensive to mitigate.
Yeah, but with no, there's no noticeable sound cue, so I never knew it was coming, and it just dropped me, pretty easily. The pillars, though,
it is worth noting that there are chat cues for this.
Yeah, I probably could have set up an Alt-1, but it just...
But once again, you shouldn't have to do that to find success.
Yeah. But I'll tell you where the way I found success with the pillars was just to break it down as simple as I could, and I noticed, probably from all those 90 Nintendo games, that if I just went the width of the bridge, a lot of times, either going north or south, you would avoid them. So it was like minimal movement for me. And so that worked out pretty well. But then once we got to the frost cannon, there, like I said, I just couldn't find any warning. It dropped me every time.
What about the exposed core where you have to go through its arms?
I never did that.
Okay, so I
never did that mechanic because Yeah. I'm guessing that would not have went well. Just from everything else that I experienced in a fight, I don't think that would have went probably very well, because it probably would have been a movement um, issue.
Yeah. So overall,
Well, overall, it was the same, um, ankle biting problem with for me, which is field of
that you
view,
had with
which isn't
Carapac.
that I had a care pack, and that's not necessarily a jagex boss thing, right? That's a magnification thing. That's a me thing. But the other the other problems it had are more of a design thing.
Okay, and
Um,
I assume we're going to talk about color here.
Color is a big one. There was no, I think that I just think that my screen is tuned a little bit different because I could see those pillars. Now I couldn't tell you what color they were. I have no idea.
They're very,
But
very light blue, almost white.
okay. Um, so and I didn't really see much of them like in verticality. I just kind of looked for them like you looked for the strike worms kind of
Okay.
thing, right? Um, but once again, when I would watch videos, I couldn't hardly see them like not as well. Um, but that's part of the prayer, right? The switch.
No,
If
that
you
one,
really,
that is not a prayer switch. That is just
okay,
avoid them because otherwise you'll take damage and get your prayer points sapped.
okay. Well, there was one. It's maybe that was the core or something, but um,
Yeah, that one you need to pray magic on, and the cannon you need to pray magic on.
okay, yeah. I prayed magic. I just kept praying magic the whole way
All right.
through. Um, but mostly, like I said, if you have a if you're gonna have an instant kind of or basically an instant death mechanic, gotta give some kind of audio cue that it's coming. Um, just anything, because
And to
I'm
be fair,
set and done.
you are used to looking around and trying to look for these audio cues, and the fact that you weren't able to find one is a problem, I think, for these
Yeah, I
attacks.
mean, if someone heard it or someone knows, like it can tell me that, I mean,
Like
it'd be
thinking
great.
back, I can't tell you what the audio cues are because I just know what to look for. It's not something that entered into my mind personally.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So that, I mean, that's the big one. Here's the great thing though. On other levels, it's probably the best and most accessible boss they've ever made.
Yeah, and
Um,
that was our stance as well. Is that if you want to learn PVM, we used to say start with the mole and then work your way up to QBD. Now the answer is this.
right. And you think of that as like a regular, game accessibility kind of thing, but like it actually can be a accessibility issue, depending on, if there's some kind of cognitive issue or whatever. It
Oh
can
yeah,
be hard to follow all of those kinds
yeah,
or remember.
yeah.
If you had problems with your memory, sometimes that could be very difficult. So being able to break a boss down like that is groundbreaking. So I don't want to take away from that. Like I said, most of the issues I ran into were the same old issues.
So
Um,
effectively, what you're saying is that they just need to put this boss through an accessibility designer focusing on color blindness,
yeah,
contrast, and for people who are hard of sight.
and some sound would be great.
Sound cues, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
overall, that's not that bad. But at the same time, if I'll even say myself doing the boss, I spent an hour doing it, looking at my computer screen. I get up, my entire room seems darker because I've been looking at this blue for an hour. And I don't think that's good for my eyes.
Yeah, probably not. Um, yeah, probably not.
You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.